Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Art Game. Today we are going to be ranking the air unit promotions of Civilization 5. There are 15 options, both relating to the fighter class and the bomber class, and we will be ranking them according to how powerful they are. But of course, we have split the promotions into both fighter class and bomber class promotions because some promotions have the same name, but they do different things on the different units. And another important thing to realize is that we're going to be taking into account how important this promotion is throughout all the three different steps of the technology tree. So for fighters, that's the triplane, the fighter, and the jet fighter, and for bombers, that's the Great War bomber, and then the stealth bomber. So the first is interception. Interception is very easy. It gives you extra damage when intercepting enemy aircraft. That's not bad. I'm going to put it in C tier. It works, but unfortunately, it doesn't work against jet bombers because they are immune to being intercepted. But when not fighting jet bombers, yeah, having interception is nice. It's also one of the three starting promotions paths, one of the two starting promotions paths for the fighter that unlock every other promotion. So you want to specialize. You want a fighter to either specialize in interception or specialize in dogfighting. This will allow you to both be better at your job and to be better at and to get better promotions. Dogfighting, I'm going to put it in D tier. Dogfighting gives you a bonus to combat strength when you are launching an air sweep. Air sweeps are a funny thing you can do in Civilization 5, where you send your fighter towards a certain area, and then he will trigger any interceptions on the way, so that your bombers or your strike fighters can come after that and take care of. Well, it's basically a way to if there's an anti-air or an intercepting fighter, you want a dogfighter. But I noticed that the AI doesn't usually do this a whole lot, and if players do this, usually they will have enough interception units, either in the form of fighters or in the form of anti-air, to keep you at bay even with air sweeps. So I'm going to put it. I'm going to put them both a tier up because I just believe that both are more important than I previously thought. Interception is ranked higher because I believe that making sure that enemy planes don't target your units is more important than you targeting their units. Next, air ambush. Air ambush is unlocked after the first promotion in either interception or dogfighting, and it makes you do extra damage when targeting enemy armor units. Now, armor units are pretty important in the late game. The giant death robots, modern armor, very powerful units all around. But if you want to attack enemy land units, you want bombers. You don't want fighters. Fighters are meant for interceptions and air sweeps. They can attack ground targets, but you don't really want to do this unless you really need a bit of extra chip damage. So I'm going to put it in D. I'm a bit torn between D and F tier. I guess it will depend on where I'm on air targeting. Air targeting does the same as air ambush, but it's against naval units. The thing is against naval units, yeah, you probably want your bombers. I'm going to put both in F tier. There is one huge exception to this, which is the late game when you have stealth bombers and jet fighters. In the late game, your stealth bombers can't be put on aircraft carriers. So instead you need to put only jet fighters on your aircraft carriers. And in that case, air targeting and air ambush suddenly become very important. Because if there are any areas outside of the range of your cities, you want jet fighters to be able to cover it for you. And for that you need air targeting or air ambush. Range on fighters, I'm going to put it in the C tier, B tier. Range is a nice promotion for early planes. It's probably A tier, but because triplanes have very short range. But for fighters and jet fighters, they have a lot more range than the triplanes, so they don't need this as much. But the 2 extra range is still nice on them, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Air repair, I think this is an A tier, because air repair allows you to make sure that your fighter repairs even when it has done an action. This will allow it to deal basically continuous damage. If it's based in a city, it will heal 25 HP a turn. So with air repair, that allows you to basically deal continuous damage, and as long as you don't get intercepted or you don't attack units with too high a combat strength, you will heal up your damage every turn. And when that does happen, when you need to attack a high combat strength unit, then you can switch it up with some lower combat strength units to still do something. Air repair allows you to basically double or triple the efficiency of your fighters and bombers. But the only reason I haven't put it in S tier is because for fighters it's not really necessary. Fighters don't often get damaged because their interception rules mean that you won't really get damaged a whole often. You will just deal damage to the enemy fighters. In the air sweep rule, yes, air repair is nice, but usually you're not going to be doing a whole lot of air sweeps, so then you have the time to repair in between air sweeps. So A tier, it's certainly still strong, but it's just not on the level that the S tiers need to be. Sortie, I think that's the S tier. It's the S tier promotion for fighters, because sortie, it allows you to intercept twice a turn. The fighters are the only unit class in the game capable of intercepting twice a turn. So as long as you don't have to worry about stealth bombers, yes, 2 interceptions a turn, very, very powerful. Then we start getting into the bombers. Bombardment deals extra damage against units, and siege extra damage against cities. And bombardment, and with units I mean land units. It really depends. If you play in siege, generally cities in the end game can have a really high combat strength, and you basically need siege to wear them down. So basically it's basically required. So C tier and then D tier for bombardment, because I'm going to turn them around, because you in every single game, no matter if you're playing aggressive or defensive, you need to take out enemy units if you're at war, but it's much rarer that you need to attack enemy cities. So I would go bombardment a little bit more often than siege, but and siege also has alternatives, primarily artillery and battleships. But if you know you're going to be bombarding a whole lot of cities, yes, go with the siege promotion. Air ambush and air targeting do the same as they do on the fighter, but I'm going to put them in a higher tier, specifically C tier and D tier. Now it just disappeared. Oh, it went into S tier for some reason. C tier and D tier. Air targeting is air targeting is a bit better because bombardment does extra damage to all land units, while air ambush only does extra damage to enemy armor units. But it does do extra damage to armor units, so more extra damage. So, but when compared with air targeting, which is the only way for bombers to get extra damage on naval units, yes, you want air targeting. Especially when fighting naval units, if you are not really a powerful naval empire, having a few bombers or stealth bombers in cities with air targeting will allow you to basically have a safe zone around your cities in which your boats can pretty much freely operate, which is very powerful. Range, I'm going to put it in C tier because bombers, even great war bombers, have more range than triplanes. Have more range than triplanes. So air repair, it's an S tier. S tier because with bombers you're more often attacking, so you're more often taking damage, and with air repair, a bomber will count for basically two or three bombers with the amount of sorties that it's able to perform. Logistics amplifies this even further with 2 attacks a turn. With logistics and air repair, your bombers, especially stealth bombers, because they are uninterceptable, will basically turn enemy units to molten slag before they can do anything. Land units become almost like fodder to air repair and logistics bombers. The only reliable counter against this is nuking the city that the bombers are in. Very powerful, very almost required. If you can get logistics, always get it. Evasion. Now, for great war bombers, usually they will only be able to be intercepted by triplanes because anti-air doesn't exist yet. So but triplanes are pretty rare, and they are, of course, need to be placed in cities because aircraft carriers also don't exist yet. So that gives them a pretty narrow field of operations, which will mean that usually you're able to operate your bombers without fear of interception. Of course, if the enemy is ahead of you in tech, that changes. But if it's not, then yes, it allows you to do damage without the threat of being damaged back. Evasion, however, with bombers, so the World War II era bomber, that becomes a lot more powerful because then anti-air starts to come online, perhaps later even mobile SAMs, and that combined with fighters and will pose a serious threat to your bombers. So in that case, evasion suddenly becomes very good with its minus 50% damage from interception. But then when you cut to stealth bombers, you can't be intercepted. So then evasion suddenly becomes a useless promotion. So with all this in mind, I'm tempted to put it in D tier because of its short. It's only really useful for one era of units. Of course, if you're playing on something like Marathon, where your units stay operational for much longer, I mean, wouldn't be a bad idea to go for it then. But if you're playing on standard or quick game speeds, no. So that is the end. These are the tiers. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Leave a like, leave a comment, and goodbye.